interest of Kalea Ortiz et al. In the 198 Judicial District Court of Kern County, Texas. So we're here for an adversary hearing. The issue is visitation and another potential service for Miss Purcell, correct?
Judge,
Yes,
if I could just address that portion. So I did talk to Ms. Thompson about that. We had agreed to talk about that at the FGC and discuss that service. And I guess Ms. Fuller wasn't informed of that. I don't know if Ms. Fuller's in agreement with that, or if we need to have a hearing on that part.
Since I don't know what they discussed, wasn't made aware of that.
Why don't we do this? While we're taking testimony for visitation, let's touch on questions related to this extra service that Ms. Fuller is concerned about as far as Ms. Purcell is necessary. And for the record, the court will take judicial notice that there is a waiver of service on Ms. Purcell dated May 1st, 2025. Everybody agree to that?
Yes, Judge.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so service is not an issue. All right, everybody waive opening.
Yeah, yes, Judge. The only thing is I need to admonish my client, since there's a active criminal case. I would like to just narrow the issues to what the parties are discussing, which is placement and the service that Ms. Fuller wants to touch on, and just to admonish her for constitutional right to not self-incriminate if any questions regarding the allegations of the DWI with the children in the car come up, Judge.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Saldivar. So, Ms. Purcell, because Mr. Saldivar has raised some potential Fifth Amendment issues, I have to make sure you understand what that means. If you are asked a question that you believe could potentially incriminate you in your criminal charge, you have the right under the Constitution of the United States of America to invoke your Fifth Amendment right not to self-incriminate. All you need to say is, I plead the Fifth. Now, I also have to tell you that when you plead the Fifth, this court can make an inference as to what it is you're pleading the Fifth for as it pertains to the facts and circumstances of this case. So I need you to understand that that protection against self-incrimination is relegated to or only applies to your criminal case, okay? So if I hear you say I plead the Fifth, then depending on what it is, this court can make whatever inference or give whatever weight to that I need to give to it, because as the trial court, I have that authority. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Does that satisfy you, Mr. Saldivar?
Yes, Judge. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Let's get on the record what is agreed, Ms. Thompson, and then we will get into testimony as to the issues still in contention.
The department to be designated as a temporary managing conservator. As for services to be further discussed on during the FGC. One thing the department is very adamant about is for Ms. Purcell to do inpatient.
Okay. So that's an issue that's in contention?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yes.
Correct.
So we're going to agree for TMC to the department belong. Mom will be a possessory conservator. Parties agree to an FGC, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And we're left with visitation and the inpatient issue.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, then Ms. Thompson, call your first witness, please.
Yes, the department calls Ms. Simmons.
She's been sworn. You may proceed.
Ms. Simmons, could you briefly describe the reasons for removal?
The removal of the children was due to alcohol use with additional concerns for mental health.
And do you think inpatient care for Ms. Purcell is in the best interest of the children?
Objection, Judge. That called for expert testimony. I don't believe Ms. Simmons is an expert in that field.
Let me rephrase that, Your Honor. Do you recommend Ms. Purcell to do inpatient care?
Objection, same objection, Judge.
Your Honor, based on Ms. Simmons, we could take her on board dire to establish her years with the department and her working with parents and individuals that have drug and alcohol issues to give her recommendation. That's her recommendation, not as Mr. Saldivar stated, not a someone from a drug treatment place.
I think considering the issues in contention, it would be appropriate for someone to take her on board dire and prove up that she has the training and the years of field experience to make a recommendation based on that. So I don't know if you want to do it, Mr. Saldivar, or if you want Ms. Fuller to do it.
Oh, I guess we can allow Ms. Fuller to explore that, Judge, and then if I can ask questions after.
That'll be fine. It'll go back to Ms. Thompson unless she's done, but go ahead, Ms. Fuller.
Understood.
Ms. Simmons, how long have you been employed with the department?
8.5 years.
And have you always been in family base?
No, I did 4.5 years in investigations and then the 4 years in family base.
And what kind of training did you receive prior to being employed by Child Protective Services?
At my hire date, we do a 6-month training process. And then when I transferred from investigations to family based, I did additional training. And then we have ongoing training every year.
And in that training, how much of that training focuses on drug and alcohol issues?
Close to all of it.
And so during the time period in the last 8 years, you've had consistent training in regards to what to look for drug and alcohol issues, correct?
Objection, leading judge.
Well, just rephrase, Ms. Fuller. If it's for dire and it's not her witness, so I think she can, but just rephrase.
Can you state some of the specific training that you've had in regards to drug and alcohol use in the last 8 years?
Effects of substance use on children, the effects of substance use on parenting, like warning signs when a parent's under the influence, what the signs look like, recommended treatment options for substance use, how to classify them as mild, moderate, severe.
And in regards to alcohol use, what is your training specifically in alcohol use? Is it the same?
Yes.
Okay. And in your training in alcohol use, what were some of the indicators of someone with a severe problem with alcohol use?
The frequency, blood alcohol levels. I don't know,
And-
is there?
And criminal charges like public intoxication, DWIs, those are also indicators of use, in your opinion?
Yes.
And based on your years of practice in working with individuals with substance abuse problems, do you feel like you can give an opinion in regards to Ms. Purcell's need for inpatient treatment?
Yes.
And do you base that on the overall picture in this case and the reasons for removal?
Yes.
I'll pass the witness, y'all.
Miss Thompson, were you done?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go ahead and resume your questioning.
Judge, as far as the voir dire questions, am I able to follow up with any questions on that?
Yes, you may. You may. I didn't know you had any. Go ahead.
Okay. Ms. Simmons, have you had any training in the medical field in diagnosing mental health issues or substance abuse treatment?
No.
Typically when you're working family-based, do you send the parents out to experts to make recommendations and follow those recommendations?
Yes.
And how often do you rely on those recommendations?
We usually follow those recommendations. We usually have them do the assessment and then have them follow those recommendations.
Okay, so it's required to have the assessment first and then you follow the recommendations, correct?
It's depending. If an assessment has been done and then treatment has been done afterwards, we can follow up with that provider if like a relapse has occurred. So a whole new assessment wouldn't necessarily be necessary.
Okay, but you're not licensed under any organization in the state of Texas to make recommendations regarding mental health treatment, or drug treatment, are you?
No,
Does the department require you to have any of those types of licenses to work in investigations or family-based?
no,
Okay. So your job is mainly to help the parents get the recommendations and the assistance that they need, correct?
yes.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Thompson, after this voir dire, you can go ahead and ask your questions again. Court's gonna find that Ms. Simmons has the requisite training and experience, and knowledge to make a recommendation as a employee of the department for purposes of a family plan of service. But I think it's important to note for the record that, you know, she's not a medical doctor. She doesn't have a license to diagnose, but I don't think that's what she's doing. I think what she's doing is relying on her experience, training, and knowledge to make a recommendation that inpatient services would be an appropriate service for her to address the concerns that brought the child into care. So I'll make that distinction. Further, the court also wants to put it on the record that I'm familiar with Miss Simmons. She's appeared before me many times, and I was familiar with her employment with the department prior to my appointment as the judge. So I am aware of her experience for what that's worth as far as this hearing is concerned. All right, you can ask your question again, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Simmons, based on your investigation, why did you recommend Ms. Purcell to inpatient care?
Kylie had began an outpatient treatment and she had 2 relapses that we're aware of during the outpatient treatment. She then went to inpatient treatment and she completed the 30 days. And then within the 36 hours of discharging from inpatient, she relapsed on alcohol and then received the public intoxication. We reached out to that inpatient treatment center and they felt that it was appropriate for
Objection, hearsay, Judge.
Just don't tell me what they said exactly, Ms. Simmons. Just tell me what their recommendation was. I think it's part of the case file, correct? Or is
Yeah.
it part of the case file?
This occurred after the
But
removal.
it's part of your knowledge that you have, direct knowledge that you have in your investigation.
Yes.
Okay, I'll allow it. Overrule.
So the recommendation was for her to return to inpatient.
And Ms. Simmons, when was the last time Ms. Purcell submitted drug testing?
She has not submitted a drug test based on a referral that I made. She did drug testing, like there was drug test results from like the hospital and inpatient treatment.
And did Ms. Purcell submit an alcohol drug testing?
Through the hospital and through inpatient treatment, but not outside of there.
And just to go a little bit further back, when were you assigned this case?
January 22nd, 2025.
And Kalani and Armani, what are their ages?
Kalani is 3 years old and Armani is 1.
And where are they currently placed?
With the maternal grandmother, Christina Cruz.
And do you think the current placement is appropriate for the children at this time?
Yes.
And please state specifically why.
The maternal grandmother has been involved with the children since birth. She is used to having the children over for weekend visits, or I think there was brief times where Kylie and the children resided there. The kids are attached to her, bonded to her, and I feel that Miss Cruz can provide a safe home for them and follow the court's recommendations and rules.
And have Ms. Purcell have had any visits with the children?
She had the post-removal visit on May 1st, and then the belong caseworker did a visit on Wednesday this week, the 7th.
And how were those prior visits, the kids?
They were good. There wasn't any concerns.
And what is the department recommending as to Ms. Purcell's visitation schedule?
The department wants to keep the visits the same, once a week at an hour, supervised by the department or belong.
And why do you think the 1 hour weekly visitation supervised by belong is in the best interest of the kids?
We're still in the beginning stages of the removal. The department or belong wants to see the negative alcohol and drug tests come in. They want to see her engaged in services and have feedback from the providers before moving to family supervised visits. I think the frequency and the hours of the visits can be discussed more as long as they're supervised by the department.
But as for now, you think 1 hour weekly supervised department is appropriate?
Yes.
Your Honor, I pass the witness.
Mr. Saldivar?
Yes, after the removal, how many visits has Ms. Purcell had?
Been asked and answered, Your Honor.
I haven't asked the judge.
He hasn't asked it overall.
She has had 2, May 1st and May 7th.
And were those 1 hour each?
Yes.
Okay, and you testified that there was no issues or concerns?
Right. She was appropriate during the visits.
Okay. And did you supervise those visits?
I supervised the one on May 1st, and then Dustin Williams with Belong supervised the one on May 7th.
Okay. Do the kids seem bonded to their mother?
Yes.
Okay. And well, you said you started working on this case in January of this year?
Yes.
Okay. And what was the visitation schedule between January and the up to the time of removal?
They were in the home with her at different points. Kylie was being supervised 24/7 in a safety plan. And then when she was in inpatient treatment, the kids went with a family member on Sundays to see her.
Okay. And while she was being supervised by the family member, were there any issues during those specific supervised visits?
Kylie was using alcohol.
During the supervised visitation?
Oh, by the family members or by the department?
Okay, so let me back up and just repeat my question. So when the department switched to supervised visitation with the family members, was she ever not appropriate during the supervised visits by the family members?
When she was in treatment?
Okay, you said at some point that the children were being supervised with mom by a family member. Is that correct?
In the safety plan, a family member was in the home providing 24/7 supervision.
Okay. Now, was there any at time where you had concerns while she was being supervised?
Yes.
Okay. And did the family member report those concerns?
No.
Okay. And was that prior to her going to inpatient rehab?
It was after.
It was after. Okay. And what family member was supervising?
It was Nathan Purcell.
Okay. Now, did the grandmother at any point partake in that supervision?
No,
No. Okay. Is that why the department feels it's safe and appropriate to have the children with the grandmother?
yes,
Okay. Do you have any concerns for Miss Cruz, the grandmother, being protective against Miss Purcell?
no,
Has up to today, has Miss Cruz had the opportunity to supervise any of the visitation?
no, she's been present for parts of Kylie's supervised visits. Is that weird? But she
Okay,
has
and when
not
you say
supervised.
part of the supervised visit, is that belong supervising them?
Yes, like on May 1st, when I supervised that visit, Miss Cruz was there for part of the visit.
Okay. And do you believe that if Miss Purcell were to ever show up to her home or be under the influence around the children, do you believe that Miss Cruz would report that to the department or to law enforcement?
Yes,
Okay. As far as the incident after her inpatient rehab, did you have an opportunity to have a conversation with her?
Miss Cruz or,
Miss Purcell, Miss Purcell.
yes,
Okay. Did she recognize that that was a huge mistake on her part after she left rehab?
yes,
Did she express to you that she was willing to make changes?
yes.
And to your knowledge, when's the last time you talked to Miss Purcell?
At her visit on the 1st of May.
Okay. Did she let you know that she's attending any NA or AA classes?
She told me, not on May 1st. She told me that it was her plan to start attending on, I think it was that Monday, the 28th.
Okay. So she had a plan to attend. Was there anything else that she was planning to initiate?
The original discharge plans from inpatient treatment, which was getting in with the Franklin Clinic for ongoing mental health medication management treatment, and the drug testing and outpatient with mindful innovations.
Okay. When she rehabbed after her initial inpatient stay, did the department refer her for another OSAR or evaluation to see what the recommendations would be?
Not to OSAR. We
No.
we contacted the inpatient treatment center she was at.
Okay. And so that was just that recommendation is what the department is going after. Is that correct?
Yes.
I'm gonna just interject real quick, just because I don't have a court reporter here and I want the record to be clear. You asked it when she rehabbed. I think what you meant to say is when she relapsed. Is that correct?
Yes, Judge. Yeah.
It's no problem. I just want to make sure. So your question to her was when she relapsed after the inpatient stay, et cetera, correct?
Yes, Judge. That's correct.
Okay, all right. It's an issue of contention, so I want to make sure the record's clear. Go ahead,
Understood,
Mr.
Judge.
Sullivan.
That's all I have for now, Judge.
Okay, Ms. Fuller.
So Ms. Simmons, you said that when you spoke with Ms. Purcell, that she said she was going to start her meetings on April 28th, correct?
Yes.
So if she didn't start till May 5th, would be concerning, correct?
Yes.
And in regards to her treatment, she completed a 30-day program on April 24th, correct?
Yes.
And she was intoxicated and got a PI within, what did you say, 30 something hours?
Yes.
So obviously that 30-day treatment didn't really take, did it?
Not
In your opinion?
not to the point that the department would have liked.
Okay. And then how many days after that did she get the DWI with the child in the car?
The DWI was on December 28th of 2024.
Okay. So that charge was already pending.
Mhm.
And based on that charge, she was probably given some conditions that she was supposed to follow, correct?
Yes.
And have you contacted the DA's office to see if she's followed those conditions?
Yes.
And in regards to the drug testing and everything, that did they offer drug testing for her based on the DWI?
Her bond conditions, they did not.
Okay. And did you feel that that was kind of suspect that they wouldn't do drug and alcohol testing when she got a DWI with child in the car?
Objection, speculation, Judge.
In your opinion, do you think it would have
Thank
been,
you.
I'm sorry,
That's okay. Sustain.
in your opinion, would it have been more appropriate to do some drug and alcohol testing?
Objection
your
against
opinion.
speculation, Judge.
In
That's
her
another
opinion, as
consideration.
a caseworker who has dealt with these issues for over 8 years, Your Honor, I think she can have an opinion, a valid opinion on what a parent needs to do when they have a drug and alcohol issue.
Are we basing that question off of the facts and circumstances that have come into testimony?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, overruled. She can answer the question.
Yes.
And so on an alcohol test, they don't go back very far if it's a regular urine test, correct? Based on your training.
Correct.
So if Ms. Purcell was able to go do her own test and provide you with a negative test, that would be on her own time frame, correct?
Yes.
So all she would have to do is not drink for maybe the day before, for the most,
Objection, speculation, Judge.
based on her
Sustained.
training, Your Honor.
Well,
Um,
with her training, everybody metabolizes alcohol differently. So I hear what you're going for. Let's not specify how long it would be.
And so in regards to prior to you asking for the removal, did you speak with Ms. Purcell in regards to going back into inpatient treatment?
Yes.
And based on your knowledge of what has happened 6 months prior and since her treatment, why did you feel that inpatient treatment is the best option for her to get clean and sober?
She needed more of the services that inpatient treatment was offering. She needed more around the care treatment. She's had multiple relapses within the last 6 months. And then obviously the relapse after getting out of inpatient treatment was a concern that she wasn't ready to be home where the alcohol is readily available. And
And in the treatment that she went to, when they said they recommended her to go back to inpatient, was it only another 30 days or do you know what they recommended?
at that time, they were saying 30 days, and then they would do a full intake with her when she arrived.
And do you think at least 30 days, additional 30 days would be important to determine whether Ms. Purcell can be able to function without drinking alcohol?
Yes.
And in regards to her mental health issues, did the treatment program provide her help with that?
She was seeing a psychiatrist there and receiving mental health medications there, along with individual therapy. And then Kylie reported that she was also doing like rapid eye movement therapy.
Okay. And upon her release from treatment, it wasn't only the alcohol that she had an issue with after treatment. She also had suicide attempts, correct?
After treatment?
Yes.
Yes.
And did this inpatient treatment program say they could also help her deal with her mental health issues?
Yes.
Okay. And how important do you feel it is for her for these issues not to be minimized, and for her just to do a couple AA meetings?
I feel it's very important that this is where the case begins with, instead of trying to, I mean, I guess white knuckle it. She's had a relapse after inpatient treatment. So to hold off without addressing it fully right in the beginning, I think will actually delay the progress in the case.
And how old is Miss Purcell?
23?
23. So she's fairly young, correct?
Yes.
And how important do you think it is for her to deal with these issues now, versus waiting until she's 30, 35 years old?
I think it's very important.
And again, you already previously stated the children are 1 and 3, correct?
Yes,
And they're safe with their grandmother at this time?
yes.
And the 1 hour supervised by the department, you mentioned that it could be more than 1 hour. So are you willing to go 2 hours a week supervised by the department?
It will be with belong. I don't think the issue is that it has to be 1 week or 1 hour. It's that we feel that belong needs to supervise to continue to see those interactions and get feedback from the providers.
Okay. And you mentioned that there was issues with her father and he was a safety plan. And what were those issues?
Well, when the relapse occurred after the inpatient treatment, he was in the home providing the 24/7 supervision, and he reported that she was in the home under the influence of alcohol for a few hours before she had left and gotten the PI.
Okay. And did he call you immediately or after the fact, after she got the PI?
He never contacted me. I had to contact him the following Monday.
So for the record, you don't feel that Mr. Purcell would be appropriate to supervise any contact, correct?
Right.
And in regards to being in his home, is it your statement that she was intoxicated in his home and he failed to notify?
He went and stayed in Kylie's home. So he was in Kylie's home providing the supervision. I guess, moved in there to provide it.
Okay. But as far as your statement today, he really did not provide appropriate supervision.
Right.
Okay. And in these cases, we have the parents have 1 year to be able to provide a safe and stable home, correct?
Yes.
And so how important is to address the issues immediately, since relapse obviously is a problem with drug and alcohol users, and she has already relapsed more than once.
Yes.
So the initial step, the beginning of this case is the most important time for her to deal with those issues, correct?
Yes.
Objection asked and answered, Judge.
Overruled. I think she's just expanding on it.
Does Miss Purcell have counseling through MHDD or just through a regular counselor?
She did have counseling through Hill Country Crisis Council. She's been seeing that counselor since September, and she expressed wanting to see a different therapist once being discharged from inpatient.
And so she can see any therapist that she wants as long as she's willing to sign a release of information, correct?
Correct.
I'll pass the witness, y'all.
Follow up, Ms. Thompson?
Ms. Simmons, what reasonable efforts were made by the department to avoid removal of Kalea Ortiz?
I mean, it came over with a safety plan. That safety plan moved to a family agreement plan. She had 1 relapse, and we continued to work with her and provide the resources and continued to get additional support set up. Then there was another relapse where we put in another safety plan, and then she went to inpatient treatment. So we continued to offer supervision and services.
And was Ms. Purcell, was she open to receiving the services recommended by the department before the removal?
Yes, besides going back to inpatient.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Any other questions for Ms. Simmons?
No, Your Honor.
All right, next witness, Ms. Thompson?
I call Mr. Purcell.
Okay. All right, Mr. Purcell, have you figured out how to unmute? No?
You have to scroll to the side. Scroll all the way to the right, and then there's a little orange button. And you press it. It says tap to speak. You like slide through all the cameras, the screens. There's 3 little white dots on the bottom of the screen, the furthest one to the left, and then there should be an orange button that says tap to speak.
Okay. Does anyone have the ability to take a call from Mr. Purcell so that we can get his testimony?
I can try to put him on speaker, Judge. I just need his phone number.
Yeah, since he's aligned with your witness, I think, let's,
I
Mr.
can-
Purcell, or could somebody put his phone number in the
Yeah,
chat?
I think he
Because we're on
unmuted,
YouTube.
Judge.
I think I did it, sir.
You did it. Okay, yay. All right.
Awesome.
Ms. Thompson is going to ask you some questions, then Mr. Saldivar, and then Ms. Fuller, and then they're all going to have a chance to ask you another round of questions. So remember that you're under oath, and just answer the question that you're asked. Don't offer any information unless you're asked about it. Okay, so don't expand upon your answers if they go outside the scope of the question. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And if you hear any attorney object, don't answer the question until I've had an opportunity to rule on the objection, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Purcell. Ms. Thompson, you may proceed.
Mr. Purcell, have Ms. Purcell expressed harming herself in any way
She has.
to you? And do you recall the dates or the date that she has expressed that to you?
No, ma'am. It's been a blur.
Has she ever expressed harming herself in April of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember exactly what she said to you?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did Ms. Purcell mention to you?
That she wanted to do harm to herself.
And when she expressed that to you, what did you do next?
I contacted my ex-wife.
And at the time, were the kids present with you when she reached out to you to express harming herself?
Yes, ma'am. The kids were with me.
And do you remember how many times roughly have Ms. Purcell expressed committing suicide or killing herself?
That was the first time.
First time. Mhm. And have you had any concerns with Ms. Purcell maintaining sobriety?
Can you repeat that, please?
Have you had any concerns with Ms. Purcell abusing alcohol or any substances?
Now or then?
Then,
There was a few concerns.
and could you state specifically what those concerns are?
That she was never in the right mind when she would drink.
Do you recall of Ms. Purcell drinking frequently, often?
So frequently, I guess.
And when Ms. Purcell was not her mind and she was intoxicated with alcohol, where were the children? Where were they at those times?
They were with me every time.
So just to clarify, was Ms. Purcell with you and the kids at the time when she was intoxicated?
No, ma'am. I would have them for like the weekend.
Okay. So the times that she was intoxicated, where was she at the time?
Hang on just a second, Ms. Thompson. Ms. Purcell, could you please keep your device still? It's very distracting when you move around a lot. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Thompson.
Where was Ms. Purcell while she was intoxicated?
She was at her house.
Has she ever been intoxicated when she's around the kids?
Not to my knowledge.
And have you ever had any safety concerns with her taking care of the kids?
No, ma'am.
I pass the witness, Your Honor.
Mr. Saldivar.
Yes, Mr. Purcell, did the department ask you to supervise visitation between the children and Ms. Purcell?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, you're aware that she has 2 criminal charges related to alcohol.
Yes, sir.
Can you tell me which 2 they are, to your knowledge?
Hang on just a second. I don't know if we can get too far into the weeds on that.
Oh, okay, just I'll rephrase my questioning.
Okay.
While you were monitoring the children and Ms. Purcell, was she ever drinking or intoxicated during those supervised visits?
No.
Did you have any issues where you needed to call Ms. Simmons and report Ms. Purcell's I guess mental breakdowns or intoxications?
Repeat just the first part again, sir.
Was there ever an instance where you needed to call Ms. Simmons and report that Ms. Purcell was either under the influence or having a mental breakdown?
There was.
Okay, how many times did you call Ms. Simmons to report that?
Didn't. It was on it. Never mind.
Go ahead.
It was on a Saturday, and I've never dealt with CPS before, so I didn't know they were open on a Saturday.
Okay, can you explain what happened the Saturday that you're referring to?
When she got out of rehab, she got arrested that Friday, and that next morning it was Saturday, and I didn't think CPS was open.
Okay, and so when did you contact the department after that?
I didn't. They showed up at her doorstep at 9 o'clock that Monday morning.
Okay, and then is that when you were able to speak with Ms. Simmons, or who did you speak with?
I didn't speak to anybody at that point. No, I did. I'm sorry. I did speak to Ms. Simmons about 10 o'clock that day after she got done talking to Kylie.
Okay, were you open and honest about what happened, I guess, during that Saturday event?
Yes, sir.
Okay, were the children harmed in any way during the Saturday event?
No, sir.
Okay. Are you asking to continue to be involved in the children's lives?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you also offering assistance in supervising or taking care of the children when Ms. Cruz is not available?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And would you describe the bond that Ms. Purcell has with the 2 children?
It's special. It's pretty special when she's on her A game.
Okay. And the department is recommending an hour visitation per week. Do you think that's sufficient to bond or continue the bond that Ms. Purcell has with her children, in your opinion?
No, but that's because I'm her dad. I think a little bit longer visitations would be great.
In your opinion, would the children benefit from that extra time with the children?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that if Ms. Cruz supervises that visitation, that she'll be safe and appropriate, in your opinion?
Repeat that again, Ms. Cruz. What?
Yes. If Ms. Cruz supervised additional time with the children, do you think that she would be safe and appropriate and report any issues to the department, in your opinion?
Yes, she would.
Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Fuller.
Mr. Purcell, my name's Deborah Fuller, and I represent the children in this case. And so in regards to the safety plan, when your daughter, Kylie, got out of treatment on the 24th, you were supposed to be residing in the home, supervising her with the children, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so she immediately became intoxicated on the 25th, correct? And was found on somebody's property, and she was under the influence, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And so your job as the supervisor was to try to ensure that she wasn't using alcohol. And you said you had no safety concerns about her, even though on the very day after she got out of treatment, she got a PI and was drinking and found intoxicated in somebody's yard.
Yes, ma'am. She made a mistake.
Okay. But you said you didn't have any concerns.
At
That's
that
what that's what you testified to.
Yes, ma'am.
And you also said that your only concerns was that she was never in her right mind when she would drink. But from the time she got out of treatment, when you were supposed to be supervising her, she drank on more than one occasion, correct?
She drank that occasion, yes, ma'am.
Well, and didn't she drink again when on the 28th? Oh, well, I'm sorry, let me take that back. So on the 25th, you said, I didn't want to call because you didn't think that they would answer on a Saturday, but your daughter was arrested on a Friday, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Friday night.
Okay, so you don't think it would be important to notify you as the safety plan to notify the department, whether they answer or not? You didn't even attempt to notify them, did you?
No, ma'am, because I've never done this before.
Okay. And you said, and I mean, this is in the affidavit, so you can correct me if the affidavit's wrong, that when Kylie came back on the 25th, that she was significantly drunk and you and her got into an argument.
Yes, we got in a little argument because she had a beer.
Okay. So she was significantly drunk off of one beer, in your opinion?
Well, I don't know what she did after she left the house because she left her cell phone and everything at the house when she disappeared.
Well, I'm reading from the affidavit, and it says you told the caseworker that she came to home and she was significantly drunk. Then y'all got into an argument and she left. And that's when she ended up getting arrested. So was she there, Mr. Purcell?
Yes, ma'am.
Was
Sorry.
she, was she drunk at your house before she got arrested?
It seemed like she was at her house, yes.
I'm sorry, not your house, her house. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you also tell the caseworker that you felt like the children were actually a trigger for her because they looked so much like their father, and that you were concerned that that's what triggered her to drink and have these suicidal issues?
Yes, ma'am.
And your testimony to the court was that she was you didn't call CPS because you didn't think you could on a Saturday, but did you tell them that you didn't call them because you didn't think that she would repeat this mistake and that she would do some services and you felt she would be okay? And you didn't want your grandchildren in foster care?
No, ma'am.
You never told him that?
No, I don't recall that.
Okay. And it's your testimony today that that you felt she just had one drink?
Of my knowledge, yes. After she left that house, when I thought she stepped outside to go get some fresh air after we had that argument, I don't know what she did after that.
Okay. So if she was intoxicated, and if, according to the previous testimony, that she's had several issues with attempting suicide, is it your statement still that you have no safety concerns about her taking care of these children?
Yeah, once she gets the help that she's been getting.
But she got help. She was inpatient for 30 days and she drank immediately the day after.
Yeah, alcohol is a very bad disease, ma'am.
It is. And so for her not to want to get more intensive help, you think that's beneficial for her and for your grandchildren?
No, she needs more help for sure.
Okay, I'll pass the witness.
Any other questions, Ms. Thompson?
No, Your Honor.
Judge, I just have a few follow-up if I could.
Go
It'll
ahead.
be brief, Judge. Mr. Purcell, to your knowledge, is Ms. Purcell engaging in any treatment or classes at this time, to your knowledge?
We've been going to AA classes and she's doing other programs and stuff. I don't know what they are as far as, but she goes her days off and stuff. She goes and does other treatments and counseling.
To your knowledge, how often a week is she participating in some kind of treatment?
Out of a week, sir, or a day?
Yeah, in a week, how often is she either going to treat her mental health issues or her alcohol issues?
Alcohol has been every day with AA. Mental is, I think, once or twice a week. I'm not too for sure on that one.
Okay, pass the witness, Judge.
Any other questions for Mr. Purcell?
No, Your
No,
Honor.
you,
Okay. Um, is the only other witness Miss Cruz?
Judge, I was gonna call Miss Purcell briefly as well.
Okay. Miss Thompson, were you gonna call Miss Cruz?
No, Your Honor.
Were you gonna call her Miss Fuller?
no, you.
Mr.
Judge,
Solomon?
yes, I am gonna call it, Judge.
All right, do you want to call Miss Cruz or Miss Purcell?
I can call Miss Cruz first.
Okay. Is there any objection to Mr. Purcell remaining in the courtroom?
No objection, Judge.
I think that he needs to be, we invoke the rule, Your Honor, just in case there's some questions that come up based on the testimony of his ex-wife and the mother.
Okay, I'm gonna put you back in the waiting room, Mr. Purcell, and the same rules still apply.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. All right. Miss Cruz, can you unmute, please?
And that mute button's been tricky today, Judge.
It has, okay, there you go. Can you state your first name for me, please?
Christina.
All right, Miss Cruz, you've been brought in. Mr. Saldivar is going to ask you some questions, and then Miss Thompson, Miss Thompson and Miss Fuller are going to have the opportunity to cross-examine you. And they may ask you questions more than once. Just make sure that you answer the question that you're asked and nothing else. Don't offer any other information other than what is pertaining to that question. And if you hear one of the attorneys object, don't talk anymore until I've had the opportunity to rule on the objection, okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Saldivar, you're a witness.
Miss Cruz, can you say your full name for the record, please?
Christina Cruz.
And how are you related to the children in this case?
I am their grandmother.
Okay, are they currently placed with you?
Yes.
And how long have they been in your home?
For about the last 2 months.
Okay. And in the last 2 months, how many visits has Miss Purcell had with the children?
I would say maybe 5.
Okay. And to your knowledge, during those 5 visits, have there been any issues or concerns? Okay.
No.
And have you seen the bond between Miss Purcell and the children?
Yes.
Can you describe that bond to the court, please?
Can he wait till she answers? Because, I mean, she's not getting an opportunity to answer before you ask another.
There's a little bit of a delay. You
Okay,
can answer the question, Miss Cruz.
I would say that their bond is very close. The kids like look up to Kylie and they love her so much. And vice versa, Kylie feels the same way. Is really good with them.
Okay. Do you know why the department's involved with the children and the mother in this case?
Yes.
Okay. Would you agree with me that it's based on her alcohol use?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have concerns for her alcohol use at this time?
I think she's using alcohol right now. And at this time, I don't have concerns of her using it.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the first response. Can you just repeat your concerns again?
I don't really have concerns. I said that she wasn't drinking right now. And I know previously it's been a problem, but that's just since everything has happened with her husband.
Okay. Now, when, to your knowledge, did it not become an issue with the alcohol?
Well, since the kids got taken away.
Okay, so that was recently, is that correct?
Yes, yes, in the
Okay.
last 2 weeks.
Okay, and to your knowledge, has Ms. Purcell done anything, any treatment or any services to address the concerns?
Yes.
To your knowledge, what is she doing to address the concerns?
She's doing her AA meetings. She got a sponsor. She's been taking drug tests.
Okay, and how are you
And-
aware? Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna say, and she's been driving her car, and she wouldn't be able to drive it if she was drinking.
And why do you mention the vehicle?
Well, just because I know she can't start it, if she had been.
Okay, are you referring to an ignition interlock installed in her vehicle?
Yes,
Okay, and just for the course knowledge, that's the machine that she has to blow in to start her car, correct?
yes.
Okay. To your knowledge, has she had any issues with the ignition interlock?
No,
Okay. Do you, to your knowledge, is she receiving any mental health treatment right now?
any mental health? I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Do you not think so, or you don't know?
I don't know if her counselor is part of like mental health or not, but she is seeing a counselor.
Do you know where where that counselor is?
I do not.
Okay. Now the department's recommending once a week visitation for an hour. Do you believe that's enough time for the children to bond with their mother, in your opinion?
No. Same time, I understand the concerns.
Okay. Now, if the court allows additional visits with the children, would you be willing to supervise those visits?
Yes.
Now, if for some reason Ms. Purcell is under the influence during one of those visits, what would be your next move?
I'd probably call her a caseworker and
Okay.
not let her have the visit.
If she were to show up to your home outside the visitation schedule, what would you do?
I would not allow her to see the kids.
Okay. Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Thompson.
Ms. Cruz, previously you mentioned that Ms. Purcell has not had issues with alcohol now. Has she had issues with alcohol before removal?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember specific instances in which Ms. Purcell was intoxicated or had issues with alcohol?
Yes.
And do you recall the exact dates and where it happened?
Not the exact dates, but where it happened.
And where did the incidents happen?
I believe at where she was staying before she got her house. Or just one time was at the bar.
One time at the bar. I know you mentioned that you don't recall the exact dates, but do you recall, was it several months ago prior to this hearing or prior to removal?
I wouldn't say it was several months ago, but it was right before she had went to rehab. So in the last 3 months.
So the incident when she went to the bar, where were the children at the time?
They were with her father, with Nathan Purcell, Kylie's dad.
So, Ms. Cruz, you mentioned that Ms. Purcell, you don't have any concerns as to taking care of Kalani and Armani, but she has had an incident of intoxication 3 months prior to the removal. Is that correct?
Right.
And
Basically, when she got her DWI, whenever
Hang on. Yeah,
that was.
Miss Cruz, remember, you only ask or answer the question you're asked. So don't give any other
Okay.
information. Okay, go ahead, Ms. Thompson.
Okay. And don't you think that's an issue or a concern for taking care of the kids?
I do
Okay, and
think
why?
that it's, well, because when she's in that state of mind,
Hang on. We're still going down a road where you weren't asked that question. Let her ask questions before you provide any information. Go ahead, Ms. Thompson.
And why do you find it concerning that Ms. Purcell was intoxicated 3 months prior to the removal?
are you done asking? Sorry, can I answer?
Yes, sure, you can.
Oh.
You can answer.
Well, my concern is because she got the DWI.
Okay. So with what happened during that period, the 3-month period, would you say now that she is capable or have the protective capacity to take care of the kids?
I think so. I think she might need to prove herself a little bit.
I pass it, Mr. Honor.
Ms. Fuller.
Ms. Cruz, do you know how long your daughter has had the ignition interlock?
Maybe 3 or 4 months.
So her public intoxication was just in April. So the ignition interlock is just if she uses her vehicle. So if she's walking and drinking and under the influence, the ignition interlock is pointless, isn't it?
Well, yes. At that point in time, yes.
I mean, the last incident was a public intoxication where she was stumbling and under the influence the day after she got out of rehab, correct?
Yes,
And you say that children really look up to their mother, correct?
they do.
And don't you think it would be important for them to have a mother who is clean and sober and can take care of them and protect them and not put them in harm's way?
I absolutely agree with that.
And the fact that she did complete a 30-day program and immediately had a public intoxication and suicidal ideations or threats in some way, don't you think that's very concerning to say? I mean, that shouldn't you have concerns about that type of behavior?
I do have concerns about it. She hasn't had suicidal thoughts prior to coming back from rehab.
So if her father told the department that she was having suicidal thoughts because she was triggered by the children because they look like their father, you weren't aware of that?
That was, I
It's
think
a
I
yes
was
or
aware
no.
of that.
She asked if
Yes.
you were, yes, okay. You were
So
aware of it?
Okay.
Okay.
So for these children to be safe and protected at this point, as Kylie's mother, do you feel she needs some more intensive help to ensure that she can stay clean and sober?
Yes,
Okay. And in regards to the children, they're in daycare, correct?
yes, ma'am.
And you would need daycare assistance, correct?
Yes,
And so are you asking the court, and I'm asking the court as well, to have belong pay for the children's daycare?
Yes,
Okay, and that's at Happy Jack's?
yes,
Okay, and it's my understanding, did Miss Purcell already pay for a couple weeks ahead of time?
yes,
So after this hearing, you're asking the court to order Belong to take over the cost of the daycare?
yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
All right, is there any other evidence that anyone needs me to hear?
Judge, I just want to call Ms. Purcell briefly.
Okay. Ms. Purcell, can you unmute, please? Do you want me to put Ms. Cruz back in the waiting room?
Yes, Your Honor.
Right. Thank you, Ms. Cruz. I'm going to put you in the waiting room. All right, go ahead. Ms. Purcell, you've heard the same admonishments that I've given. Can you possibly keep your video on while you're unmuted?
Oh, so maybe that's why everybody was having difficulty.
Now you're good. I can see you and I can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Is someone in the room with Miss Purcell though, Your Honor?
No.
Okay, just want to
Are
make
you
sure.
at work?
No, sir, I'm at my house.
Okay. Same admonishments I gave your mom and dad. Don't answer any questions other than what you're asked. Yes, no, or a short, open-ended answer. Don't give any information that you're not being asked, okay?
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Saldivar.
Yes, Ms. Purcell, you heard the testimony of the worker, Ms. Simmons, and the questions from the department. Do you understand the concerns the department has?
Yes.
Are you willing to address your sobriety and your mental health?
Yes.
And you've heard from the ad litem for the children, you've heard from the department. Both parties are asking for you to go to inpatient treatment. Can you tell me what your stance is on that?
I would obviously do anything that I would need to do. But how am I supposed to pay my bills if I'm not working? I mean, I just bought a house and I don't understand. I probably wouldn't even be able to keep my job if I had to go back.
Okay, so hold on there. Let's take it one step at a time.
Okay.
Where are you currently working?
Town and Country Animal Hospital.
And what do you do there?
I'm a vet tech.
Okay. And it's my understanding, and I believe there was brief testimony, the father of the children is deceased?
Yes.
Okay. Did he commit suicide?
Yes.
And what effects did that have on your family and yourself?
Well, for starters, I was a stay-at-home mom, so it was very hard. It was nothing that anybody really expected. My daughter, to this day, she still talks about him. It's taken a really big toll on her and just everybody. I never expected that I was going to be a single mom of two very small children.
Prior to your husband committing suicide, did you see any problems, any mental health problems in him?
I know he was diagnosed with bipolar and he had a drinking problem.
You know,
Okay.
Your Honor, I kind of object to this line of testimony. The father's is not obviously a party to this case and has not been around the children, I think, for almost a year. I think he committed suicide about a year ago.
It was 10
Where you go?
months.
Where are we going with it, Mr. Saldivar?
Judge, I was just trying to give the court some insight of what Ms. Purcell's been dealing with. I can move on, Judge.
Okay, I'm aware. I've looked at the affidavit and I've heard the testimony, so I think I have a pretty clear picture of the situation. I mean, I would allow you to go into it a little bit further, but I think I've got what I need.
Okay, I think that was the extent I was looking to get in the court, Judge.
Okay.
Ms. Purcell, so the last time you were in rehab, obviously there's testimony that you relapsed after that. So this last time that you relapsed, can you explain to the court what actions you took to start addressing the problems?
I started going to AA. I got a sponsor. I did out-of-pocket urinary UAs with the G&G in Kerrville. I have found a therapist. I do outpatient mindful innovations 3 times a week. And the AA is every day, if not, it's 4 to 5 days a week. And then I did follow up with my primary, and I was going to start parenting classes, but they told me to wait to see what kind of parenting classes that they would want me to take before just taking some, and that didn't count towards anything.
Okay. And did anybody force you or ask you to enroll in all these services?
No,
Okay. Why did you think it was important to start doing that?
because I made a huge mistake, and I just wanted to prove to myself and everybody else that it was a mistake and that I can do whatever it needs to take in order to get my kids back.
When did you start initiating these services?
It took me a second to get all of my appointments set up, but I would say within the last week and a half.
Okay. And you've heard the department's wanting only 1 hour a week with the children. Do you think that's enough time with your children?
No.
And why do you think that?
Well, every time that I do see my children, my daughter cries and tells me that she wants me to go home with her. She doesn't want to stay with my mom anymore. And I don't know, they're not used to, I mean, I've been their only person for the last 10 months. And so they're not used to not seeing me.
Okay. And you understand how important these services are and providing that safe home for the kids. Do you understand how important that is?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And what can you tell the court that would be different if they don't order you to inpatient? How can you reassure the court that the treatment's actually going to work?
I'm gonna stay on top of my game. I'm completely honest, I tested the waters whenever I got out of rehab, and I didn't realize how alcoholism is a real disease, and it really does mess with your head. And I realized everything that was at stake. And as much as I deeply regret it, I can't do anything about the past. I can only do what's I can to move forward. And I think I'm filling my plate up a lot, trying to make sure I'm doing everything right. I even went part-time at work so I can make sure I'm able to go to the parenting classes and the AA and the therapist and all of those things.
Okay. And right now you're the sole provider for the children, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And if you were to order to be sent to inpatient, you mentioned this earlier, but would you have financial issues?
Absolutely.
Could you describe those to the court?
I as much as I hate to even say it, I would probably lose my home. And I just got this home for us.
Okay. So you're dependent on your monthly paycheck from your work, correct?
Yes. I have a tiny bit in savings, but I've had to dip into that because of going into rehab and having to pay my mortgage and my car insurance. And I mean, now I had to pay out of pocket I did it, but the urinalysis are not cheap. So,
And you did send me copies of those drug tests, is that correct?
yes, sir.
And proof of the NAAA classes?
Yes.
Okay. Pass the witness, Judge.
Ms. Purcell, how much do you have left in savings right now?
I'm not sure exactly off the top of my head because I have to get all my wisdom teeth taken out. So I just had to write another check.
Okay, your affidavit of indigency stated that you had $18,000 in savings.
Right. And that has very quickly gone down because of I had to pay the what's it called? I don't know, the hospital sent me a bill and then I had to pay for my teeth and then I had to pay for a lawyer. That's already like $8,000 right there.
So are you testifying that you've got $10,000 left in savings?
I'm not sure how much I have left.
Ballpark it for me.
I would say probably like 7.
Okay. Ms. Thompson, questions for Ms. Purcell?
No questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Fuller?
Oh, Ms. Purcell, as you heard earlier, I represent your children. In regards to your testimony that you're the only person that they've been with for the last 10 months, that's not true, is it? I mean, you were in rehab for at least 30 days, correct?
Right.
And then you live with your mom off and on since the kids were little, correct?
Yeah, but I was the one taking care of them.
But I mean, they've been around your mother and they're very comfortable with your mother, correct?
Yes.
And prior to the removal, you're actually also receiving over $3,000 in death benefits for the children, correct?
Yes.
And you understand that those will be redirected, and so they need to be given to your mother
Yes.
since she is taking care of your children.
Mhm.
And do you receive death benefits as well?
What do you mean?
Do you get a check for yourself or just for the two
Nope.
children?
Just for the kids.
Okay, so you weren't married. But he's the father of the children.
Right.
Okay. But you understand that it may take time to transfer that money over to your mother. So if you get the checks first, are you willing to turn those over to your mother so she can take care of your children?
Yes.
And you mentioned that you feel like you're going to be on top of your game now, but what is different now? I mean, you had a DWI with the children in the car. You had this criminal case going on, and you still were using alcohol, correct? Right
Yes.
after the DWI, you went to treatment, and then within a day or so, you're still using alcohol. So what is different?
Well, I had said that I tested the waters because I thought like I said, I've never been through a treatment program or anything like that. And so I mean, I didn't realize that it would really be the way that everybody said that it was, and that one is not enough in a thousands, or one's not enough in a thousands too many. But I wasn't taking, will be honest, and I wasn't taking it as seriously.
And in regards to your mental health issues, I mean, according to the affidavit, I mean, you've had serious issues with wanting to commit suicide yourself. So
I
is your
think that
statement today that you don't feel like you need any extra help in that area either?
No, I think that me going and seeing MHGD was actually what is, I was on 7 different medications, and that's not very normal.
Well, what are you on now?
I have slowly weaned off of a few of them with permission from people from whenever I was in rehab, because I was on 7 different ones. And right now I'm just taking the ones that I need to sleep. And I honestly have never felt better.
Okay. And do you feel like did you learn anything from Bunyan Treatment Center?
Banyan, yes, I did.
Banyan, sorry, Banyan. And so if they're recommending that you go back and do some more intensive inpatient, don't you think that their recommendation is valid because they did spend at least 30 days with you?
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, and your mother stated, your children look up to you. Don't you want to be clean and sober for these young kids? I mean, they're just babies, really.
I am clean and sober.
Today, you are.
Right.
That's your testimony today. But alcohol is a serious issue, don't you think, Ms. Purcell?
Yes.
Pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay, we're about out of time. It's 3:27. We've been at it for an hour and a half, and I think we relegated an hour. I've let it go longer. Anything else that anybody needs to present to the court?
Just closing, Judge.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and do closings, and I'll hear from Ms. Fuller and Casa. You can start, Ms. Thompson.
As heard previously from the previous witnesses, it's in the best interest for Ms. Purcell to do inpatient, especially given her history with alcohol and given everything that that has transpired, especially leading up to the removal of Armani and Kalani. As for visitation, it's best that it is 1 hour weekly, supervised by belong/the department. I think as for now, that's just to ensure the safety of the kids. It's best that it remains the visitation schedule that's provided to mom. Now, if the department is open or belongs open to increasing that along the way as the case progress and later on, then fine. But for now, I am sticking to 1 hour weekly supervised by the department. The department has made reasonable efforts to avoid or eliminate removal of the children. They have done everything in their means, and Ms. Purcell have not really done anything to prove otherwise, that she has the protective capacity to take care of the children. And I think under Texas Family Code 262.102, that the children, they are in immediate danger, and that danger continue to exist right now. And for those reasons, we believe that inpatient is in the best interest, as well as 1 hour visitation.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Mr. Saldivar.
Judge, you heard testimony today. Ms. Purcell was mourning the loss of her husband. The children, we forget to mention that the children are also dealing with the loss of their father, a parent. And Ms. Purcell was a stay-at-home mother at the time that this occurred. She had to alter and change her life. Judge, it's not an easy thing to mourn the loss of a partner and then to change the roles of being now the caretaker and the primary provider to the children. That's incredibly difficult for anybody here to say that that's not something incredibly to overcome. That came with issues of dealing with alcohol and mental strains. I understand that Ms. Purcell testified that she's willing to address the concerns of the department, but she has real life issues where we have to maintain a safe and stable home for the children that she's recently acquired for them. Going immediately into inpatient rehab would cause her to lose that foundation for the children. She's asking for an opportunity, Judge, to prove that she can overcome this problem through intensive outpatient treatment. We're here at the 262, Judge, and she's already going to NAA classes, which I provided proof to the department and Ms. Fuller. This was kind of one of these things that was rushed and I wasn't able to get business records affidavit, but I did provide that to the party. Upon her own, she did drug tests on April 29th for drugs and provided the proof to the department. Those results came back 5.7. It's the same lab that the department uses. Those were all negative. She also did an alcohol test on 5.1. Results came back 5.5, and those were also negative. She has an ignition interlock, Judge, that she's using. My understanding is that can vary. They can give her specific times to blow into that ignition interlock. It's not just while you're driving as well. They're monitoring her situation so she's not drinking. She hasn't had any issues with that. So she's also enrolled in counseling with New Beginnings Youth and Family Services. Her counselors, I believe her last name is Miss Hips, provided that proof to the department too. So she's already enrolled in drug testing on her own because she understands that this is a severe case. We have parents at these kind of hearings, Judge, yelling and screaming that they have no issues or concerns. I think you heard her that she's willing to address that, and she does acknowledge that this is an issue. We're asking to have an OSAR done to make recommendations first before we just automatically send her and uproot her life to inpatient. She's willing to do all the other services the department recommends. She's also asking to have additional time with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old who lost their father and now is the very limited contact with their mother. And I don't think that it's in the best interest of the children to limit contact with their mom. She's going through some issues, Judge, but during supervised contact, there was no issues or concerns. I don't see the harm in giving her an additional hour or two a week with a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old to continue that bond while she addresses this serious problem. And for that, Judge, that's what we ask for the court.
Thank you, Mr. Saldivar. Ms. Fuller.
Your Honor, and obviously, once the children are removed, the plan is reunification. So it is my hope, because Ms. Purcell is very young and has gone through some traumatic experiences, that she does get the help that she needs. I mean, she had this PI on the 25th, right after she got out of rehab. And yes, we were provided AA sheets. She started those this week. So she went, until the week of court, she didn't have AA meetings or a sheet for AA meetings, or at least we weren't provided for it. I mean, obviously a removal of the children makes it, imperative that you do something pretty quickly. I hope she gets the help, Your Honor. She has beautiful children. I saw them on Wednesday. They're both beautiful. The grandmother takes very good care of them. I don't have an issue with extra visitation, but I think it needs to be supervised by the department or belong at this point. And if you do order extra visitation, if she tests positive or has an incident with drugs or alcohol, then it needs to go back to 1 hour supervised, because this is a situation where, I mean, alcohol is worse than drugs, in my opinion, Your Honor. It's very hard to quit. It's very hard to keep it under control because it's legal. The reality that she has an ignition interlock, she was walking last time. She didn't use her car. She got the PI because she stopped and got alcohol and was drinking it as she was walking. So, I mean, yes, an interlock is good when you're driving your car, but that wasn't the case, Her mother does need the daycare, so I would ask that you order belong to pay for the daycare. Her mother does work Monday through Friday, from what I remember, and so she needs that daycare paid for, and for the money to be redirected, the death benefits to be redirected to the grandmother. I wish it was as easy just to say I've gone to a couple meetings and I have a sponsor and I'm going to get on top of my game now. It is not that easy, Your Honor. And again, I want Ms. Purcell to succeed because I think that her children need her and she needs her children, but we're not there right yet. She needs this inpatient to really understand and be able to focus on the reasons why she's drinking, whether it's the death of her husband or whether there's other issues in her background that have led to this situation, and really deal with those stressors outside of, in an inpatient setting, so she can be able to get out and move forward and be that parent that her children need. And so I'm asking that the inpatient be ordered. And I think she has, as most of our clients don't have funds to cover their rent, much less their cell phones. I think Ms. Purcell does have funds that she can cover that situation if she goes to rehab. It sounds like they want an additional 30 days and then look at it after that, and that she wouldn't even have to do an OSAR to go back into that treatment program. Because I really do feel like, she has beautiful children and they need their mother, but they need a clean and sober parent that can be there for them and that has dealt with her mental health issues as well as her alcohol problems, Your Honor.
Thank you, Ms. Fuller. Ms. Bach?
I agree with, what she said. I met with the kids on Wednesday, and the grandmother. I think, for the young age of the children and losing their father, I think they do need extra time with their mother. I think it's important for their well-being and their bond with their mom. Just because they're so young. That's got to be tragic to lose their father and now their mother. So I would ask the court to give her, some extra time with their children during the week.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's take 5-6 minutes, take a real quick break, and then we'll come back. I'll give a ruling, and when I come back, I'll let grandparents back in. So we'll be back in about 3:44, 45, somewhere around there. I'm going to give we've closed evidence and the parties have given their summations. I'm going to give my ruling. Just ask that everybody hold your questions. If you have questions, you're gonna have to ask your attorneys. I've heard all the evidence I'm going to hear. If the attorneys have some clarifying questions, I'll address those, but it's really late in the day and we've gone way over time on this. So we need to be as efficient as possible here. The parties had agreed for the purposes of the adversary hearing to TMC, and I did hear a lot of evidence from the department regarding the issue of conservatorship and the issue of reasonable efforts and the issues of what concerns existed in addition to the agreement. So for the purposes of the adversary hearing itself, I'm going to approve the agreement of the parties and find that there's sufficient evidence to satisfy a person of ordinary prudence and caution that there was a danger to the physical health or safety of the child caused by an act or failure to act of the person entitled to possession, and for the child to remain in the home is contrary to the welfare of the child. The urgent need for protection required the immediate removal of the child, and reasonable efforts consistent with the circumstances and providing for the safety of the child were made to eliminate or prevent the child's removal. Reasonable efforts have been made to enable the child to return home, but there's a substantial risk of a continuing danger if the child is returned home. Reasonable efforts in this case specifically, Ms. Simmons testified that there was a safety plan at first, then including a family agreement plan. After the mother's relapse, they tried to set up additional support. She had another relapse. They had another safety plan. And then she went to inpatient and relapsed again before this removal was filed. So there were multiple reasonable efforts made to prevent or avoid a removal and to return the children home, but it wasn't possible. So the court will name the Department of Family Protective Services and belong as the temporary managing conservator of the children, Armani and Kalea Ortiz. The court will name the mother, Miss Purcell, as the temporary possessory conservator, both pursuant to the agreement and the findings of the court. Court orders the parties to have their family group conference to develop family plans of service that are narrowly tailored to address the concerns that brought the children into care. And the other issues we had that were not agreed were the whether or not mother needed to attend inpatient rehabilitation again, and the visitation. At the outset of this hearing, before I heard any evidence, I had received Miss Purcell's indigency form. And on a review of her indigency form, it was clear to the court that just based on that alone, it doesn't technically qualify as indigent for the purposes of one of our cases. And the reason being is because the form itself reflects income of $1,050 for her part-time job per month, $3,292 on Social Security death benefits, and then an $18,000 savings account. Throughout the course of the hearing, the court has heard evidence that the $3,292 in Social Security death benefits is actually for the children and is going to be redirected. So that money is not going to be available to her as a resource. Court also heard evidence that obviously, and the court understands that if she goes to inpatient rehab, there's going to be a lapse in her employment. She may or may not have her job. I also heard evidence that of the $18,000 she listed on her indigency form, she's down to approximately $7,000 after other expenses. Now, I don't have an accounting, so I don't know exactly what that number is. So in that sense, if she needs that money she saved in order to help pay for expenses moving forward, she would continue to qualify as indigent because that money is going to be used for living expenses while she's in this case rather than sitting in savings. There's testimony that she just purchased a house as well, and there are several expenses, including car payment and some other expenses listed in her affidavit of indigency. So that changes, that testimony and that evidence changes her financial situation from the perspective of the court. How that ties into this whole inpatient rehab issue is that, and I want you to listen to me very carefully, Ms. Purcell. Ms. Fuller said it. I know everybody else here is thinking it, but Ms. Fuller kind of hit on it a little bit more than anybody else did. You've got these children that, as your mother testified to, they look up to you and they think the world of you. And I can't even begin to imagine what you've been through over the last, I think you said 16 months. That's something that would test the strongest person. And, you know, I've lost somebody to suicide too. So, you know, it's been years, and I'd be a mess if I tried to talk about it. So I understand. And I empathize with you on that issue. What concerns me about it, and this is coming, I want you to understand, this is coming from a standpoint of really, really wanting you to succeed and wanting you to take care of all these issues and never be in this situation again. I just ruled on a case the other day from a mother who has 4 children and has had issues. She's probably twice your age, and she's had these issues since she was young. And she's lost decades of her life because she never got them under control. Now she finally has them under control, I hope. But she got there because she went to inpatient rehab, and she did some intense stuff. And she was able to see finally what everybody else around her was able to see. She couldn't see it. And that's what happens, is that you get in this place where you're unable to see what other people can see. And that's not saying anything negative about you. It's just, that's what trauma will do to you. And that's what alcoholism will do to you. I applaud you in your efforts to do what you've been doing and to get things set up. The reason I'm still concerned is because in the affidavit, you admitted to some things. You admitted to some things today. You're still struggling with trauma, and you can't control when that hits you. You can't control that. And there's 2 parts of the affidavit that state that you were triggered by your husband's passing. And your father admitted that there's also triggers there too, that he's witnessed. And your mom said on the record that ever since everything happened with your husband, you've had issues. So it would be silly of us to go through this whole process and not focus on the fact that there's trauma there that's unresolved. And we are not going to get anywhere if we don't get that out, if we don't figure out how to constructively help you deal with that. None of us would be doing our jobs if we didn't do that. But the other part of this is, and I'm not trying to sound preachy, I'm just telling you what I know from my experience. There's a lot of people that go through the same trauma that don't resort to alcoholism or drug abuse. They go through worse trauma. So what that suggests is, even if you hadn't gone through this trauma, your husband was battling, you said, alcoholism and some mental health issues. That's on the record too. You might have already been predisposed to some of this stuff, but we don't know. And we can't ever know. But we're dealing with those 2 issues. And again, it would be silly for this court to look the other way and not do something about that. We'd be going through this whole exercise probably for nothing. And I'm not interested in wasting everybody's time. But most of all, I'm not interested in taking a chance on not giving you and your children exactly what you need right now, because then it would be on me. So I'm going to order that you do another 30 days of intensive inpatient rehabilitation beginning ASAP. And by your testimony, you've got money in the bank that will save your house and pay your bills for 2 more months, if not 3. But we're only asking for another 30 days. I understand that losing your job is a reality for you, and I'm sorry for that. Unfortunately, this is one of the things that happens when you get involved with alcoholism and alcohol-related issues. It's just a reality of that situation. But this is a lot better time when you're young and you're 24 years old. When your kids are young, this is the time to deal with it, not later, when they've had to deal with years of your alcoholism and you've had to deal with years of failure after failure because you didn't address it now. So the court's going to order that. I'm going to order that we start at 1 hour a week, but I want that. I don't know what kind of rehabilitation facility we're going to be in. Maybe it's going to be the same one, the Banyan. I don't know what kind of visitation they allow, but my intention is for you to have as much visitation as your children as is appropriate and in their best interest. So let's just set it at the 1 hour. But I mean, even if it's within a few weeks, if you're inpatient and you can have visitation, I'm authorizing the parties to increase it. Again, I applaud your efforts. You're off to a good start. You're trying to address things. You're in AA and you have a sponsor. But you've got a lot of stressful things headed your way, and you're going to need help, and you're going to need a good support system. Thankfully, you know, your mom and your dad are here today. They're both obviously going to support you, and they need to understand. And the reason I brought them in for this ruling is I want them to understand how serious I am about being protective and being honest and facing these issues head on, because we're not going to be successful if we don't. You won't be. You will not be successful if you don't address these issues head on. And it's going to get harder before it's going to get easier. I'm not going to lie to you, but you can do it. I believe in you. I know you can do it. And I'm trying to help you. This is not punitive. If you do this and you get out and you manage to handle your criminal case, and there's some probation issues that you have to deal with, I don't know what that's going to look like. So it could be that some of these things tie together and you're able to do these things at once, instead of having to do it in 2 different cases. And I'm all for that. But at your family group conference, you all need to be very involved in figuring out what the next 6 months of Miss Purcell's life are going to look like. Doing the inpatient as soon as possible, getting out and getting back on her feet and figuring out how to not relapse. I'm a very big proponent of aftercare. So I'm going to order that her aftercare plan be ready to go before she walks out of that facility. And everybody needs to agree on it. It's a court-ordered aftercare plan that you all are going to develop at your family group conference. Because if we don't do that for Miss Purcell, then again, we're dropping the ball. I think I've addressed all the issues. I do have to admonish you, ma'am. Oh, I'm going to order that Belong pay for the daycare. That's not something I want Miss Cruz to have to worry about. So whatever is left over after Miss Purcell's initial deposit, whenever that cuts off, Belong picks up. And then I'm going to maintain that the placement that the children are in with Miss Cruz is safe and appropriate, meeting their needs and in their best interest to continue in that placement. However, Miss Cruz, I'm going to admonish you. You said something during testimony. I don't think you're fully aware of the issues that your daughter is facing either, or you were minimizing it during this hearing so that I wouldn't order her to inpatient. Well, that's not going to happen. I need you to be grandmama bear for these children. Okay. And I need you to understand that no matter what you or Mr. Purcell do, or anybody else argues to me, I see that your daughter has a problem with alcoholism and that she's suffering from traumatic issues. And I'm going to make sure those get addressed. So face it head on like she is. Be honest with her, be honest with yourselves, and realize that this is our chance for everybody here to turn this around. Were there any other requested orders from the attorneys that I didn't address?
Judge, as far as I know you mentioned her affidavit indigency. Is she going to be court appointed an attorney moving forward?
Yes, Judge? Thank you. And that's a big part of this. I wrote a whole note about it and I forgot to say it. I'm going to allow her to maintain indigency status at this time because she's going to need that money to pay her bills. I don't want her to lose her house. But I'm going to order, we're coming back July 4th, 2025, or excuse me, June 4th, 2025 at 3 p.m. for our status hearing. June 4th, 2025 at 3 p.m. I want at that hearing, you, Mr. Saldivar, to submit to the court through an exhibit, a very detailed accounting of what funds she has available. So that means, Miss Purcell, you're going to have to provide Mr. Saldivar with your financials. And I want to know what you have available to you as of June 3rd. So the day before, that gives Mr. Saldivar time to put that together. I want to see what your financial situation looks like. I can't find you indigent if you're not indigent. So I need to see that you're actually indigent at that time if I'm going to maintain Mr. Saldivar on his appointment. Obviously, whatever fees you pay to your attorney in your criminal case are part of that. So they need to be included. Don't give me any attorney-client privileged information. Just let me know what that financial obligation looks like as well. And I want to know the cost of the mortgage, and I want to see what's in the savings account. That's the only way I can make that decision on June 4th. I have to admonish you that the state of Texas gives parents in child welfare cases 12 months to demonstrate that you can provide a safe, stable, violence and drug-free home, and in your situation, alcohol-free home. If you can't demonstrate that, then your rights to your children are going to be restricted further as they are now, or even terminated. Nobody here wants to do that. Please don't put us in that situation. Take these orders seriously. Being defiant that's the way to lose in this case. I've heard a mountain of evidence that the ruling I'm making supports. This is not a case where I'm wondering if I'm doing the right thing. I know I am. So don't be defiant. Get cooperative and accept that this is the future. Ms. Thompson, have I failed to address anything?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Ms. Purcell, when I say that I believe in you and that I know that you can do this, I mean it. And I really hope that you do. I really hope that you do. Thank you all for your time and your service. If nothing further, all parties are excused. Have a good weekend.